Hey there, welcome to Contracts and Chaos. My name's Alyssa.
And I'm Brenna, and we're here to tell you that you are not alone in the mayhem of this real estate industry.
We're keeping it real and sharing our stories, strategies, and successes in today's real estate world.
So come join us every Tuesday while we talk contracts and chaos.
Okay, so if you're listening today, guys, we are doing what we did last year. We are going to do a recap of RISE, which is the conference for real. The first half of the day, you usually sit in general session, and I'm trying to find.
I saw a couple of clips from general sessions and I was like, ooh, that was a good little nugget. We love that.
Right? There was some good stuff, and I, took voice recordings of all of it so I can go back through and listen and, like, take notes because I was like, "There's just so much that comes
Oh my
out."
gosh, your phone storage must be like crapped out.
And that's why we're also buying a bigger laptop. Yes, but I also buy, like, the biggest iPhone there is, and that's exactly why, so I can
Mm-hmm.
do things like that. Because I don't wanna be that person who's like, "I have to delete photos to take photos."
Right.
No.
I refuse. I
Um
have photos on my phone from I think like 2012.
Right? I think I literally do from, like, first iPhone.
Uh-huh.
Um, so the first session was, like, Sharon talking. So he was like he gave us a little pep talk. Like, it was 10 minutes of, like, "Here's how to get the most out of this." And he said this last year, and he said it before other things, and it's one of those things that I take and utilize in other places.
Mm-hmm.
So his thing is be where your feet are. So when he's home with his family, he is home with his family. And he reiterated it here, like, you are here. You have a TC, you have a showing agent maybe, or, you've prepped your clients to call a different agent while you're gone. And if you didn't, you should have.
Right.
Be where your feet are. If you're sitting in these seats and you're trying to negotiate deals, then you're not getting your money's worth.
Right.
And he said another thing, and I think it was very spot on. He said, don't lobby con, which is like, don't just hang out in the lobby trying to make like network for referrals. While that
Referrals.
is important,
Mm-hmm.
there's far more important information happening behind these doors. And it was just nice to hear him say that because one of the things I did experience last year was like if I stepped out to like use the restroom or something, there were so many people in the lobby. And I was like, why did you just pay so much money to be here
If you're
if
not
you're
going
not
to
going to sit
sit,
in these
right.
rooms? Right. Like there are other people who couldn't get tickets to be here because it sold out.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? And then we talked to Tamir. Um, and I'll be honest, I don't remember exactly what his first one was about. But it was just another like short 10-minute pep talk. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
you're here. Here we go. And then they announced Leo. So we got Leo last year.
Yes, we love
And
Leo.
if you're yes, we love Leo. Um, and the funny part was like once they made this updated Leo announcement, they had a DJ the whole time and they used Leo's voice as like comedic interjection during the whole thing. It was
That's
hysterical.
funny.
Um, but so they've updated Leo, and Leo can do all of these things now. So much more than before. And if you're with Real and you've logged into your Bolt or your Reason or whatever you call our database or platform, you'll notice it. They moved the menu over. Leo is front and center, and they're asking you to use him more than like going through all the tabs. Now the tabs are all still there, the menu's there. If you're old school and you want to do it, go for it. But Leo can do so much more now.
Mhm.
Um, and it's pretty impressive. Like he can talk to you about like, hey, when am I going to cap? After I cap, like he'll break down a specific commission for you
Yep,
from a specific transaction and be like, here's the exact numbers and here's why you're paying this fee.
yep.
Like one of the examples they gave was, hey, what's this additional $250 fee out of this transaction? And it was like, oh, you pay an annual fee. And because this is your first transaction since you re-upped, we break that into 3.
Mhm.
So that's why. I mean, he's so much knowledge. Eventually he will be at the point where literally you'll say, hey, Leo, write me a contract to purchase at 123 Banana Street.
Well, that'd
This
be
is my
great.
client's name. And he will pull the information from MLS.
Yeah, that's super cool. I used Leo,
Like,
Friday actually at our coffee meeting because we were doing some, like, business strategy for next year, like, goals and planning and stuff, and it's so funny because they were, like, going back through their lists and, like, writing down, like, the contracts that they closed and trying to pull up, like, their commissions, because it's all, like, math when you're doing stuff like that on how many transactions you should have per quarter, that kinda thing. And I was like, "Hey,
Right?
Leo, what's my GCI for 2024 and how many
Exactly.
transactions have I closed?" And then I was like, "Oh, wait, he can probably do this for me too." So I was like, "Hey, Leo, what's my average commission?" And he did spit it right out, and I was like, "You guys, I'm already done. I already did it.
Right?
It's over.
And that's
Leo did the
like
math for me."
right? And that's just like tip of the iceberg,
Yeah.
easy access, but it will save you time when you're doing things like that. Or say it's tax season
Mhm.
and you're like, I can't dig through all of these. Leo, spit me out my numbers. Leo will do it.
Mhm.
It and some of the stuff they've added to him is it's gonna blow your mind.
Yeah.
And I don't remember the specifics. I've got to go back through my notes. So I'll get that. Um,
What was your favorite, like, general session, like, takeaways? Because I think those are the most important things. You know, people it
yeah,
I've seen so many people sharing about, like, the real wallet that is, like, launching, which is great, and things like that, but I feel like conferences like that, like, when I went to Beach Retreat, you pick up on, like, those little nuances and those little nuggets from, like, one speaker or even 2 speakers, and you're like, "That's the one. That's the
yeah.
one that I was so excited about to be here for."
Um, mm. So lots of those. You're gonna make me cry. Um, Lots of those. The wallet is absolutely astounding.
Mhm.
If so, it will work like a bank. It is a bank. You can have a debit card connected to it. From what I understand, you can set it up to do the profit first method.
Which is cool.
Um, yeah, and in Canada, you can get a line of credit that's coming in the States in the next couple months, if not weeks. So that's super exciting. They announced it last year, but this year, like, it's
It's
actually
rolling out.
happening.
Yeah.
Mine was and I need to find his name so I don't butcher it. So there were 2. Jimmy Mackin had did 10 listings in the next 60 days. I sent you the link, I think, if I didn't, remind me, and you can download the, deck. Definitely leaning into what he's doing and his listing to leads stuff. And then there was Don Dapani. He's a globally renowned speaker, entrepreneur, former monk, and Hindu priest.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I'm not the woo-woo type. I am the give me a list, I will do the list. I don't care about your woo-woo shit.
Right.
Not my jam. Like we've discussed it before. I say my affirmations to my cat
Right.
because saying them myself
Seems
seems
silly.
silly.
Mhm.
He was phenomenal.
Yeah.
His the one there were a lot of things I took from him, but the one that I keep coming back to, um, is what would you do if you found out you had 3 hours to live?
Mm.
Would you sit in traffic? Bless you.
I'm sorry.
You're fine. Would you if you were obviously, most of us would probably try to get to our family as soon as possible. Would you stop at Starbucks for one last pumpkin spice frappuccino with a caramel swirl? Would you argue with the guy in the checkout line? There was just something about that,
Mhm.
and I since then have looked at everything I do as and not that I'm, like, blowing off work, because quite frankly, if I had 3 hours to live, we're done working, I'm driving to get to the kids as fast as I can. We are gonna set land speed records to
Mhm.
Augusta. Um, but that's kind of how I've looked at things. So, while I was there, I had a family emergency happen. My grandmother fell and, um, fractured a vertebrae. She's 102 years old. And I just kind of looked at everything since then and have, like, been talking to my dad through things because he's very frustrated, very upset, and getting upset with her. And I just keep saying, "You need to look at this as if it's her last 3 hours.
Mhm.
Because what if the next couple weeks are her last, quote, unquote, 3 hours? Do you really wanna spend this mad at her? Do
Mhm.
you really wanna spend this arguing? Or do you wanna sit and enjoy your time with her?"
Ew, this is gross. Man.
Right? And I just but, like, even in business, so if
Mhm.
we look at this from a business standpoint, I've had 3 transactions terminate recently. 1 is back under contract, we're gonna close in a couple weeks, the other 2, still working on it.
Mhm.
And I was really fucking angry at first.
Yep.
Really she touched something else again. Really frustrated. And even this week, I've been struggling with, okay, I have my numbers. I was good through the end of the year, and now I'm looking at things going, oh shit.
Where did it
But
all
I'm
go?
also right, I'm also looking at it as, what if these are my last 3 hours? What if this client that I'm helping, if she had bought that house and it was her last 3 hours, and the house really wasn't a good fit for her,
Mhm,
and that's the reason she's selling and buying to begin with,
mhm.
is she rushed into the house she currently lives in and hates it. So what if this is her last 3? Why am I upset? Why am I not being like, "Okay, let's find the right one, so you're not calling me in 2 years saying, 'Alyssa, I hate this house too.'"
Right.
Now granted, I didn't sell our first house, someone else did,
So you're off the hook
but
for that one.
right, I'm off the hook. But that's it was and it felt heavy, but it also felt lightening too.
Mhm. Yeah, there's
It felt like
something
there was a
freeing about that. I don't know if you've started reading Buy Back Your Time yet by
it
Dan Marsh.
literally got delivered
It's
yesterday,
so
so
good. There is a section in that book that goes over, like, what if you couldn't tell anybody and you had 2 years? And then, like, dial that you can't tell anybody, you have 2 months, you have 2
mhm,
weeks, you have 2 days, and you can't tell anybody. What would
yep,
you it was talking about, like, scheduling and, like, priorities and making sure that your family is a priority and that kind of thing. And I was like, "Ee." That's crazy because
exactly.
it completely shifts your whole mindset on what is important. Is arguing with that, in appraiser worth it if you have 2 hours left to spend
Right,
with your family? Now, this is a dramatic thing. Hopefully, we have
right.
many, many, many more hours to go
Yes,
through, but it
I'm
really
hoping I
does.
have another 50 summers to get
Yeah,
through.
exactly. Like, that's just something, but it does shift your mindset on, like, "Listen, this won't matter to me
Yep,
in a week." In
exactly, and, like, one of the deals I had terminate, we thought it was odd that the seller was like, "Yep, I'll give you all your money back."
Mhm. And then they went
Well,
right
I
under
know
contract.
why.
Yeah. I
He
remember that
literally
one.
closed 4 days later with another so I know he was wheeling and dealing. I have held on to so much anger and frustration about that because I'm like, "Do I report him? Fuck this guy, but and now I'm like, "You know what? Karma will get him.
Mhm.
What comes around goes around, sweetheart." And
That's something
that's
that
not
I
where I need to
bless
direct
and
my energy
release,
right now,
bless and release. I've heard that one. Yep. Just
right?
off we
Or
go
like
and let them. Like, you know what I mean? You can only do
right,
what you can
let
do.
them.
Mhm.
Yes, in the words of Mel Robbins, let them.
Yeah, I love Mel
Um,
Robbins.
I know. She's ugh, yes. But I also like there's also that meme floating around that's like, on average, you only get 80 summers.
Yeah,
Okay, so if on average I have 80 summers, I'm 40. Well, stop.
almost.
In 5.5 months, I will be 40.
Mhm.
And so that means I may only have 40 summers left. Why am I upset about this dude who, like, broke the rules? Should I report him? Probably,
Maybe.
but is that where I really want my energy to go? And that was another thing, like, you always hear me say, "You are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with."
Yeah.
You've heard me say it before on here, like, I don't spend time with negative people. I have released people from friendships this year because it was only drama when they reached out. I only heard from this person when they wanted to dump on all of the stress
Mhm.
going on in their life. And maybe that's bad of me. Maybe that makes me a bad friend. But when it was reversed,
They
she
were
wasn't
they
there.
were yeah. That's the
So,
hardest part, like, cause you need some people to go through some shit with. I mean, look at us, right?
right, we go through shit every week.
Every time
Um,
I talk to you. But you need people in your
that's not
life like
true. We
that.
also talk about positive things
Of
and
course.
send encouragement.
While we're going through some
Right, while we're going through some shit.
But no, it's important
Um,
to have those people, but the ones when you can look there and it's just like a complete vacuum just sucking everything and there's nothing reciprocate. And I'm not saying like that it's everything has to be a quid,
quid pro quo.
quid pro
Look
quo.
at you throwing out
There
those
you
legal
go.
terms.
Wow. I mean, I tried. I choked on it, but it's fine.
Okay.
But there has to be something where if you like think about if your phone rang right now and you think of that one person, you're like, "Oh god, please don't let it be so and so."
Right.
Gotta move on. Just
Yep. Yep.
I think that's a huge takeaway. But I do kind of want to go back to the 10 because I don't think that you did send me that one. If you did, I missed it.
Oh, I
But
will.
10
So
listings
so
in
the
60 days. So this sounds
yes.
like a very tactical thing.
Yes, and it is. And so Jimmy Mackin, I don't know if you've read his book. Um, I have it somewhere on one of my bookshelves. I have it on audiobook and I listen to it replay in my car.
Nice.
He's the author or co-author of Exactly What to Say,
Mm-hmm.
and he has different versions. He has one specifically
For
for real
realtors.
estate agents, and it's phenomenal. Um, but he also owns listingleads.com. And so it was only 30 minutes. Um,
So it's
he
kind of like
broke
a
down
breakout session.
yeah, but he was, on the main stage in the general session.
Mm.
Um, how to get 10 additional listings before the end of the year. It was like letters to expireds, how to have conversations there. I don't think he covered FSBOs.
And expireds is
Uh,
something that you've been saying that you want to dig more into too. Yeah.
yes. So I was, like, dialed in on this one. So his thing is, like, 1 out of 11 conversations equals 1 closing. So you need to have 2 seller-centric conversations per day at a minimum. Take a picture of a Google map, draw a circle that says we're gonna call off-market listings between 650 and 850. Post it on your story, but with a question that says, like, "If we come across any potential deals, would you like to let us know?"
Mm-hmm.
You only allow positive answers. Absolutely, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the, average person thinks about selling for 7 months before taking action. Which best describes your situation? And it's like, "I'm not moving till 2025. I'm going to try to sell this year. I'm in my forever home." Okay,
Nice.
so that helps you narrow down. Um, so different things like that to do. He also where are the letters? Uh,
The one thing that you've already just said that I'm like, oh, so how many times have we been in like a coaching or a training where they're like, you need to make 50 dials and calls a day and die on the phone? Um,
right?
you just said that you need to have 2 seller centric, I mean, and that's very specific conversations a day.
Right, but that might take 11 phone calls
Mm-hmm.
to get there.
Yeah,
Who
well,
knows?
and
It
that's
might
the
take
thing.
20 depending on your
It might
day.
just take 2 depending on the day. But that's like I feel like that's such an easy thing to wrap your head around. I need to have 2 really heavy seller focused conversations today. Instead of
Right,
like I need to pick up the phone and dial 75 expireds.
right. He used the example of, like, the old Toyota Corolla advertising where they were like, "For a lifetime of good times." He was like, I owned a Corolla. I never had a good time in that car. It's not something you're cruising around to pick up chicks in.
Right.
But then there was a Craigslist ad for a very, very used Toyota Corolla.
Mhm.
And like the one snippet he took out of it was, you want the car that gets the job done? You want the car that's hassle free? You want a car that literally no one will ever compliment you on?
Mhm.
Well, look no
This
further.
one's
The
it.
1999 Toyota Corolla. Let's talk about features. Bluetooth? Nope. Sunroof? Nope. Fancy wheels? Nope. Let me tell you a story. One day, my Corolla started making a strange sound. I didn't give a shit and I ignored it. It went away. The end. And so it's just like sometimes you just have to package what you're doing. He gave the idea of like if you're out showing a house in a neighborhood you've sold in or you have leads or something in, send an email and the templates here. Um that says, "Hey, the reason I'm reaching out is because I'm actually meeting with one of your neighbors on Tuesday to discuss selling their home. I'm reaching out to everyone in the neighborhood because I'm offering a free home equity update while I'm in the area to folks who are exploring the idea of selling. I'm not sure if it's for you, but I'm happy to swing by after my appointment to provide you any insight." So you could send it as an email if you have email from that neighborhood.
Mhm.
You could just mail it.
Mhm.
Old fashioned mail.
That's hard
Um,
just unless you, like, have your appointment scheduled out farther, you know what I mean? Mail is so unreliable right now for how quick it can get there, but I
yeah,
love
no.
that, and then we've talked about this
But
too, like, taking the threat out of it, like, not sure if this is for you, but because then
right.
people aren't, like, coming back at you super defensive. You put in there, "Hey, this might not even work for you, but I'm offering it anyways."
Right. And also like you might have that appointment Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Well, if the letter gets there late, the letter gets there late.
Mhm.
Maybe put in a line that says, "Hey, if the post office delays this, give me a call anyway.
Mhm.
I can swing back around. I'm not that far away."
Yep.
Like, it doesn't yeah, because there are times where it's like, "Oh, I'm going tomorrow." Well, I don't have time to pull the list, mail the letters, and have them there by tomorrow.
Mhm.
Um, but there are ways, to make it work.
Yep. Love
Um,
that.
there's one, like a just sold letter, and instead of just doing a postcard, it's a more personalized letter, and so that way I would circle prospect. Is that what that's called?
Yep.
When you do yeah. Um, and you, like, give them highlights of, like, "Hey, this is how many showings we had. This is how many views I had on Facebook about this listing. This is what I did to get this sold."
This is how many
Wondering
offers we had, that kinda thing.
right. Like, give them more meat than you can put on a postcard
Mhm.
and send that out.
Some of these
He hasn't
numbers with, like, God, 64 days on market doesn't look really great, but, I mean, it's honest. Like, when people are still only posting that we went under contract the first weekend on the market, like, that's
right?
setting expectations for people that you can't follow through with in all instances. It's not
Oh,
2020 or
exactly.
2021 anymore. Like, we do have listings that are sitting 60 and 90 days, and it's not an unusual thing looking back historically wise, but based on the last few years, people are like, "Oh my god, the market's crashing."
Right, exactly. Like, I have a listing right now that we're at 20 days, I think, 20 something.
Mhm.
The average in that area, though, is 56.
Right.
So I'm still like
Mhm.
that, and that's something I would put in that letter is, "Yeah, it took this long, but the average in this area is this, so I still got it done faster than most
Well, and
agents."
that's something too that I'm having to have conversations with. They're like, "Well, it's like," and you see the price dumps, right? They've been on the
Mhm.
market for 7 days and they did $10,000 decrease. You never should have done that.
No,
No,
not at
because
all.
you can pull showing time, and I can see in that price range, there weren't even any showings that week, you know? So,
Right.
that makes
Exactly.
no sense for you to just like, "Oh, it didn't move. Let's dump the price, dump the price, dump the
Right.
price." Because then you do start to affect the listings around you. When everybody just, like, follows suit and drops the price 5, 10, $15,000, it does start to affect the value of the properties around there. So, just
Yeah, and there's
which
other things like my listing, I know we're still under those days, but I also know we needed to do some more decluttering.
Mhm.
I needed so my client's been working on that this week. I'm scheduling new interior photos.
Yep.
I'm gonna switch up the photos on MLS, and then do another open house. And we might do like a $500 price drop to bump it back up on
Mhm.
the list. But no, her house is worth what we have it listed at. It's just taking time.
Mhm.
Um, Now the expired letter, this was and Sharon backed him on this in the morning session, like, don't poo-poo on their previous agent. Don't say your
Mm.
agent sucked, I'm better. Never do that. But, like, he said, put in the 3 reasons. If your home doesn't sell, it was either priced incorrectly, it didn't get enough exposure, it wasn't presented properly.
Mhm.
Okay, so mine right now is number 3. We're priced correctly, but and honestly, she did declutter before we took photos, but it needs more.
Mhm.
I'm actually gonna call her today and be like, "I'm coming over. Thanks for sending the updated photos, but these are the other things we're gonna put in your garage. I
Mhm.
need them gone." Um, Now and it says, like, if you believe the reason your home didn't sell is because of number 1, which is an incorrect price, you don't need another agent, you just need a lower price.
Yeah.
So he's literally telling you, "Go back to your agent." Like,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Well, and I think that
Um,
that sets, like, people they're like, "Oh, wow." Like, that's not somebody who's like, "Oh, they let you sit on the market and didn't get the job done." They're like, "Oh, wow." And they might use you because you said that, you know?
right, exactly. So that's the one I'm gonna start really leaning into this week. I'm gonna get my letter written up and start pulling expired listings and start with that.
Okay, wait. So, I mean, accountability, how many are you mailing out by Friday?
Well, it depends on how many expired listings there
Oh, no, but you have to pick an area. Where are you picking it?
are.
Are you doing Gaston
I
County? Are you doing Belmont? Are you doing Mount Holly? Like, where are you going?
oh, so much pressure. I so what I've done in the past when I kind of started pursuing this was I did expireds recently
Mhm.
and 180 days ago.
Mhm. Yeah, because that's 2 very different scripts that you can use.
Yes,
Yep.
and so I'm gonna lean into both of those again, and probably within 25 miles of my house.
Yeast, that's a
So let
huge
me,
spread.
I know, but let's just say in the last day, it would be 6 matches. And that's within 25 miles of me, 350,000 and 900,000.
There you go.
So that's how I would do it is I would jump in and just say this many days ago and within the last 2 days. Um, yeah, and they're all actually pretty great listings. Um, they're all actually really great listings. So yeah, so that's how I would approach it. So right now it would be 6 today. I can pump out 6 letters in a
Oh,
day.
heck.
Like that's
Heck yeah, you
pretty
can.
easy.
You can do like, if that's
So
a process that you're gonna start implementing, like, print out 50 or 100 of those
exactly.
letters, have them already stuffed unless you're gonna do, like, a personalization on each of the letters kinda thing, and then in the
Right.
morning, you're just gonna pull that list and
Yep.
out the door they go.
Exactly, and that's exactly how I would do it. It's just like every Monday, okay, or maybe Sunday evenings, like, I know I'm just gonna sit on the couch and watch football.
Mhm.
Well, I've got the letters printed, let's stuff envelopes, and then I know Monday through Friday, all I have to do is write addresses.
Yeah.
And, like, maybe Monday morning, I catch the ones over the weekend, so there's a couple more on Mondays.
Mhm.
That's easy, and that's something I can take with me places and do. Like, if
Right.
the envelopes are already stuffed, then when I do, like, coffee and collab on Monday with Aaron, I just bring my envelopes with me and I'm writing addresses.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
so
good. That's easy. You can do
yeah,
that.
and that's one thing I really want to lean into. And that's something, yeah, I'm sure if I took that letter, dumped it into ChatGPT and said, "Hey, rewrite this for me for FSBOs,"
Mhm. It would do it.
second pool of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. That's like,
Um,
I like that as like your one thing to like action item, because like you said, there's so many things that you're going to go back through and listen and re-listen and do notes and things, but it's so hard to get lost in, oh, this is such a good idea and I can do this and this would be a great thing to implement, because coming back and implementing 17 things is not
right.
it's you're never going to do it all, then you're going to get frustrated and that's not getting done. And so having that, like, I'm going to do this today, I love that. All right,
He has
give me
yeah.
one more, like, I don't know if you wanna give it, like, tip for people going to conventions?
Yes,
Okay,
I do.
good. Let's
Lots of them.
let's do that. Let's do, like, okay, 3 quick tips if you're going to a real estate conference and what you should do.
Okay. So, 1 you're gonna do before and during.
Okay.
Hydrate and, like, an emergency or an airborne or something preventative.
Mhm.
Every we had a group chat of, like, 20 people who were going, who were all in our, like, downline, and every single one of them except me, I
Came
think,
home
is
sick?
sick.
Yep, I saw that.
None of them are doing that. So, like, yes, pump the fluids and pump whatever preventative you have.
Mhm,
I did airborne the whole week, and I started it, like, a week before I left because I was
mhm.
like, "We are gonna pump up this immune system." So, definitely hydrate and that. Yes, comfy shoes, you are going to be on your feet or, for the most part, all day.
Yep.
We were in a huge casino in Vegas. There's lots of walking in between the rooms. You're going to want to walk around downtown at night or stand by some people were standing at gambling tables. I can't tell you how many people are like, "Oh, I brought these cute shoes for the week, but look at me in my Skechers."
Right.
And I was like, "What are y'all thinking?" Um, the other one is Sharon's tip, be where your feet are. You are paying a shit ton of money, at least in my opinion, and I think for most agents. So the starting ticket price that is not going to be the base price, but the early bird, there was only 300 that you could buy this year for next year is 750. I think these max out at what, 1100 this
Mhm.
year?
I think that was the highest price I
Um,
saw.
yeah, and plus
I
hotels.
was
So
gonna
my
say, that's
hotel
just
was
to get in
another
the
like
door.
650.
Mhm.
Right, and that was like cheap, like, we got the discounts, and then my flight was, like, another 600. Now, I will say, like, the conference feeds us breakfast and lunch every day. That's not normal at most
No.
conferences. Normally, you're on your own, and so all I had to pay for was dinner. I did get lucky the first night, found a $100 poker chip, bought myself dinner.
Nice.
Um, yeah, super awesome, but you're spending a ton of money.
Mhm.
Be where your feet are. There are so many people I've seen come back and be like, "Oh my god, I had so much fun," and I'm like, "Oh, what'd you learn?"
I don't know.
"I don't know."
Now, don't
I
get me
would
wrong,
also
experience it, do the thing,
right,
but also,
but
if you're writing this off
right,
as a business expense, should probably
Exactly.
come back with something.
Yes, exactly. Now the other thing I would my 4th tip number 4, I guess, um, if you have other people there so, like, general sessions, we're all in the same giant theater. The breakout sessions are smaller, but they're all at the same time,
Mhm.
and there's usually, like, 4 different things you wanna see that are scheduled at the same time. Divide and conquer.
Mhm.
And then, like, do your own little group recap when you all get home.
Yep.
Hop on a Zoom. Each one of you picked a topic while you were there. Each one of you needs to present on that topic when you get home.
Mhm.
That way, 1, it gives you accountability while you're there. Other people are depending on you.
To
You need to
take
be in that
notes.
seat.
Yeah.
Um, and then when you get home, like, you only have to then consume what other people learned. That's we did that last year and it worked really well. We did it somewhat this year. I don't know when the recap is, but that would be my tip number 4 is if you know other people there or if you make friends there, then do the same thing. Be like, "Hey, you know what? Wednesday when we get home next week, I'm gonna host a Zoom call. You said you're going to this one. Would you mind jumping on and sharing this with everyone?"
Mhm.
Because not like there was a breakout I wanted to get into, and it was full. They wouldn't let me in, like, too many people in the room, so I had to go to something else, which was fine. I found a room that I was, like, okay with, but I was bummed.
Right.
So I need to find someone who was in that room and be like, "Yo, can you break this one down
Yeah,
for me?"
give me the details. Yeah, I think I told you that's
Yeah.
what we did at Beach Retreat too. It's like our
Yeah.
little room of 6 of us are like, well, we split up and went to almost I think we hit between the 6 of us, I think we hit all of the sessions at Beach Retreat, which was
Yeah.
cool. And that just makes what it helps you internalize that information too when you like speak it back to somebody, when you teach it again, it just ingrains it that much further into your little brain. So, I think it's a great tip.
Yeah, and it was, like my other I guess, other tip is schedule time after for a little downtime. You're gonna be exhausted.
Your
Um
social battery is dead?
Yeah, and so that's what I did. So I got in early Monday. I booked a day at the spa
Mhm.
before I jumped into everything Monday afternoon because I was like, "I know I'm gonna need this."
Yep.
But then when I got home and mom, if you're listening, I love you. I'm glad you were here. I don't ever want you to not be here. You are always welcome in my house. At the same time, I was already exhausted,
Mhm.
and then I had my mom and my stepdad here, and not that I have to entertain them, but when your parents come to visit, you're out doing things and seeing things, and, like, I had book club and yoga, and I need to crash, and I have not had the time to. Um, so build in that buffer for yourself.
Yep.
Like, stay an extra day and do nothing in the hotel room or come home and just keep it blocked.
Yep.
But yeah, I haven't stopped moving since I got home, and I'm telling you, a wall is coming, and I'm gonna crash at some point. I literally put mascara in my eyebrows today, guys. That's how tired I am.
That's
So,
funny. Yeah. And with
yeah.
that, I am going to say goodbye. I'm headed to a final
Goodbye.
walkthrough. So I think this was great though. And I'm glad that you have some very tactical things that I can now bug you about to make sure that you're getting done.
Yes, and I'm going as soon as we hang up, I'm getting on the Apple website and ordering the new laptop
Great.
so that I can do big things.
Great, great. And we will see you guys next week.
Bye.
We just finished another episode of Contracts and Chaos, but believe me, the chaos does not stop here. So check out the show notes for our email address and where to follow us on socials, and we will see you next week.